Today, I have the privilege of having a conversation with Chef Keith. He's an author, entrepreneur, and an influencer. I'm really excited, and he's joining us right now. My man.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. Let me just give a little volume to this. Can you hear me okay?
Awesome. Yeah, me too. I'm trying to turn up the volume here. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great. Do I sound great?
Yeah, you do. You do.
Perfect.
And Sarah, can you tell me, please, if it's echoing right now? Comment below if everything is sounding okay. Just want to make sure, because, like I said, sometimes you got to wear, one of us have to wear a headphone in order there's no echoing. So I want to make sure that I don't have to put my headphone on. Okay, she says sound is good. Awesome.
Boom.
I really appreciate you, man, taking this time to share your story with us, because you do have a really interesting story, to say the least. And I've been following your Instagram. I mean, you're an artist, bro. I've been watching your pictures, and I gotta ask you right off the bat, are you taking these pictures yourself with your phone, or are you hiring someone to do this?
It's all me. Army of one.
It's all you.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear, because some people, man, they think like they gotta hire a photographer, they gotta do this, they gotta do that. Like, I looked at your picture, I'm like, this is like on, but is this a professional? Is this the latest iPhone or Android?
Thanks, man. Thank you. So I actually don't shoot on iPhone. I'll do like video and stuff on iPhone, just as I'm capturing it, but I shoot on Canon. I love Canon. I use Canon Rebel T8i, which I love. I'm really learning a lot about it. So it's a good camera.
Okay, cool. Let's share with the audience, because a lot of my community, they're beginners. So what's the price range with that camera?
Yeah, so I spent about, I think just the body of it is about $800. Which is, again, more on the expensive side. But also, my first two cookbooks, I shot on a really crappy $200 camera.
There you go.
And I had that camera forever, man, forever, ever. So a lot of times it doesn't matter the quality of the camera. I had to learn the ins and outs for that before I ever decided to buy another camera. So at the end of my third cookbook, that's about to come out in May, at the end of that third cookbook, I bought myself a camera.
Nice. So she just mentioned that it's kind of echoing. So
Sure.
I want to put my headphone on, so we eliminate that. Just one second here. Oh, you got your headphone on? Oh, you got headphone? Perfect. As long as one of us, is it connected, your headphone?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as long as one of us does that, I don't have to wear my headphone. Perfect. So let me ask you this. Did you do anything for St. Paddy's Day? Did you promote, or did you have an event going?
Yeah, so my birthday is actually the 16th of March. And so I didn't do anything for Paddy's Day. I turned the big 40. I turned 40 this year. So it was crazy. It's my second birthday in lockdown. It just happens to fall that way.
No way. No, sorry. I missed that. I can't hear you now. For some reason, you got your headphone. Let me put my headphone on too.
Sure.
One second. Oh, no, this is not good.
No worries. Let me know if you can hear me now.
Yeah. I can hear you now better. There you go. My headphone, okay. This is like different headphone anyway. So you turned 40? I'm turning 40 this year, bro.
See, you look way better than I do at 40. Good for you, man. Cheers.
No, get out of here, man. Cheers to you. So your birthday was just the other day?
Yeah, the 16th. Yep, 3 days ago.
The 16th. Mine is May 16th.
What?
So you're 2 months older than me.
Damn, man, that's amazing. Well, happy birthday in 2 months.
Happy birthday to you. So what did you do? Yeah, you didn't work, so you forgot about, you partied for St. Paddy's Day.
Sort of. It's been quiet. So my girlfriend's birthday is the week before this. So we went up and we got a beautiful little place in the mountains in New Hampshire. It was awesome. Did that. It was really safe, which is cool. And then ate a bunch of sushi, because it's the first time I had sushi in like a long time. And then now it's like detox for the next couple of days. I need to get my ass back in the Peloton. Like, it's crazy.
Nice, nice. I'm glad you did that, man. I always say, like, your birthday, you have to, like, you gotta enjoy it. You gotta take the time, and it's your day. Some people don't like, when I turn 70, I know I'm gonna be partying, that's just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like there's a reason why we're here, right? And our birthday is the day that recognizes that day, and we have to take a break. Take a break from everything, and I'm really stoked you did that. Good for you.
Thanks, man.
Good for you. Because a lot of times, as food entrepreneurs, we can't do that. We're so busy hustling, trying to like give our customers, best service as we can, but then we forget about our own life, which we can't. We gotta be on top of that. Okay, so let me see here. So you live in Milford, New Hampshire, correct?
That's correct.
That's awesome. And your whole story starts from the region of New England, like some people might not know. It's all like, what is it considered? Like, it's considered Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, correct?
Yeah, and Massachusetts and Connecticut.
And that's where your story really begins. Can you talk about that a little bit? And because I love your story, like the way you started the farm to table concept. It's like you don't hear that much anymore. And in your region, it's like perfect for that. It's perfect for that. So talk about that. Like, how did that all started?
Yeah, so I worked my way up in the kitchen, became that executive chef, and just I never fell in love with kitchen life in the beginning. I never wanted to be a chef. I wanted to be a marriage and family counselor, so I pursued my degree in psychology. By the time I made it to executive, I didn't have great training. I never went to school for this. And the first thing I noticed is we'd be buying apples and tomatoes from 3,500 miles away. And in New England, we have gorgeous farms, right? Gorgeous farms. And I was like, why aren't we purchasing from farms down the road? And they were like, oh, farms don't deliver. Like, it's cheaper this way. And when you're an executive and you run a restaurant, you know that you have a global supermarket at your fingertips. All you got to do is make a call or send a text, and you can get anything in the world. And I just wanted to support our local community. These are the same people that are coming into our restaurants from right down the road. Why aren't we supporting them back? And so, wasn't married, no kids, none of that stuff. So I decided, screw it. I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go hang out on farms. So I showed up with some boots, and I showed up on this farm called Kimball Fruit Farm in Pepperell, Massachusetts. Kimball Fruit Farm is a beautiful farm that we still do work with. And I walked into the farm store and I was like, hey, I want to speak to a farmer. And I just got laughed at, like straight up laughed at. They were like, you want to what? And I was like, yeah, I want to speak to a farmer. And they're like, what do you need? And I was like, well, I want to figure out like why we're not sourcing from farms. And they were so confused. But down this old dusty trail walks this old man. I say he's old, but he's not that old, I guess. Older than me. And so, beautiful smile. He comes up. He's like, "Hey, you want to be a farmer?" And I was like, "Not really, but I want to know what's going on here." So he took me in his old Chevy Silverado toward the farm, and that was the beginning of my friendship with a gentleman named Carl Hills. And Carl would teach me all these things. Like he would say, "You see that big pine tree up there? It's like this 80-foot pine tree, dude. It's crazy." He's like, I used to climb that when I was 8 years old, and I overlooked this beautiful farm, and I said, one day I want to do that. I was like, dude, at 8 years old, like I think I wanted to be a transformer. I had no idea what I wanted at 8 years old. So that became my friendship with Carl, and I created a concept called the Farmer's Dinner based off of these stories that he told me. I looked at him one day and I said, hey, if people knew these stories, they would want to support you. They'd want to support all these farms, right? And he goes, nobody wants to listen to us. We're old farmers. So I said, challenge accepted. And I threw an event called the Farmers Dinner where in between each course, we would have local area farmers get up and talk about what it's like to farm nowadays. And we source locally. And 9 years later, we've taken this all across New England. We've served 17,000 customers, given $170,000 back to local farmers. I've written a book about it, and it's been crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I pulled out some imagery from Instagram, and I want to share. Like, this is one of the farms right here, as you can see right there. Basically, you guys post up right there. That's so beautiful, man. Like, next to grapevines, and you got tables set up. That's so cool. Like, a concept like this around here in Temecula Valley, where I live, I think would take off. So whoever's listening, and if you're a chef in this area, do what Chef Keith is doing right now and talk to some farmers, because people love this kind of concept. And weddings, people love weddings. Like some venues, you know how overpriced they are, right, Keith? But if you talk to a local farmer in Temecula Valley and they're not using the space, and you offer them $500 and you bring people to the farm, they're gonna love it. And now suddenly you got this venue for your wedding client as a caterer, and you're cross promoting each other, you know? So that's really cool. Like, I love the idea of trading, man. Like, when I was running my restaurant and catering business, I went old school. I wouldn't like pay for anything. I would trade everything. I would give food to local businesses to use their space, and it was working. It worked great. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How like you built partnership with venues? Because that's what I always say to like caterers, people that are starting in the game, create partnerships like that and make it a win-win situation, and it's gonna work. So go ahead.
For sure. There's so many awesome people watching this, by the way. Mike and Suzu, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. So the first thing that I think is important to do is I didn't think of the Farmer's Dinner as a business, if I'm being really honest with you. I didn't have this mastermind idea where I was going to take over and be this farm-to-table guy. I did this because I cared. And I think a lot of, one of the most important lessons I learned is when you align with your passion and your truth, and you're able to kind of put that out there, you learn so much about who you are as a person. And it's that love, that energy that you're putting out there that the universe kind of rewards. And I think that was a lot of my journey. So when I started talking to farmers are terrible marketers. If you know anyone who's a farmer on here, they don't know how to market. And understandable, man. That's hard work to be out there, being in the fields all day. Man, it's a lot of work. So I wanted to connect with them and say, hey, listen, I'm good at cooking. I want to come cook in your farm. I want to set up this beautiful event, give you guys rights to the pictures, promote what you do. I'm going to fill this place with people who love you, and they just don't know it yet. And that's helped create this tidal wave of farmers being like, cool, well, now our story gets told through the medium of food and everything that we do to promote it. So I think the best way to answer your question, because I love it, is caring about people more than you care about success. That's what actually success is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I always say, give value and you'll receive tenfold back. Give value to someone. Like a lot of people, I do a meeting with, because I have an agency at the same time with my coaching. So our first meeting is basically me giving them strategies and ideas after ideas. And then I don't even say anything. And then you know what they say, Keith? You know what they say? So how much do it cost? How much are the services? And then I'm like, you know what? Let's step back, because that's the truth. I don't know yet what it's going to take to help you, because every situation is different. Like this last client I have, I don't want to mention the name right now, but I noticed that the reviews were kind of like low, and I told them straight up, you need to bring your reviews up in your Google business page, and go to my business page, You send out the links to a bunch of friends, family that knows you and know how great you are. Bring your reviews up, and then we can have a conversation again, and I can help you. Because at the end of the day, if I don't give that value to them, and I don't share the truth, and I just take a moment and say, look, I can do this for you, I can do that for you. Because the truth is, people are smarter than that. Because of Google, people are smarter than that. They're going to go, it doesn't matter if I bring in 10 leads a week for you, Keith. When they look up Keith, they look up what is the name of your website again?
The Farmers
Your company? Farmers, what?
Dinner.com.
Farmersdinner.com.
Yeah.
So when they hear about your company, farmersdinner.com, and they go, what do? They're not going to just take my word or even my cousin, somebody that's read. They go to Google and they check it out, right? And if you don't have that social proof, then it doesn't matter how many leads I bring in. So that's what I always tell my clients. Make sure you're looking good online, and make sure you are truthful and you are, you're doing the right things. Then we can make this happen for you. So just like you said, the same way with, just caring is the number one, caring. And that's why you're successful, because you care. You truly care about farmers. You truly, because I just moved to Temecula Valley and I got 3 acres here and I got farmers around me. And I feel exactly what you're saying, because I just moved here when COVID happened. After COVID happened, I decided to move out here, and I love it out here. I love it. I love seeing, what you see in where you live in New Hampshire. And it's different. It's different from people that live in the city. They don't get that, Mm-hmm. So that's really awesome. That's like one of the things that attracted me, and I want to do this interview with you, is because you took something and you made it something bigger from it. And you created a win-win situation. And it's business, that's the way it is, man. It's like you got to go way back and see, how did people become successful? It's relationships, right? Building relationships. So that's awesome, Keith. That's awesome. So let me get to my next question. So you talked about that. So in your opinion, what does it take to succeed in this industry, in the food business industry?
I think defining what success means to you is an important part of it, right? I had a conversation with a friend today who's a great chef who's going to be up and coming. He's performed all over TV and won Chopped and stuff like that. And we were talking today, and he's like, I was like, what do you want to do with your next 15 years? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, that don't know period, that's an important period of your life, right? It's not that it's bad. It's a place of discovery. And I think that first step is to define success. Some success for some people may be opening a bunch of restaurants. Success may mean writing a cookbook or winning an award. Once you define success, it's being able to obtain that. So assume for a minute that you want to open a restaurant. Well, chefs tend to make terrible business people, right? We tend to be focused on the creativity. We tend to be focused on the reason that we came here to the first place, to put out great food. The problem is we forget that there's a whole business side of it, right? We forget that there's marketing and PR and all this other stuff that goes into it. We know how to cook food, and we think it just translates to a successful restaurant. And I've made that mistake in my life for sure, right? I think the important thing is finding out what your metric of success is, and then taking steps every day. There's this incredible philosophy called no 0 days, right? It means basically all you got to do is every day you get up, you're doing one thing to further your goal, one thing to get you closer to success. And you can never have a 0 day. No 0 days. 0 days don't exist in your world anymore. If you continue on that path, if you continue working toward what you define as success, you're going to get there. Just knowing that your path is not linear, it does this all the time, and that's okay.
Yeah, you nailed it, bro. You nailed it. That's like, I would love people to go back and listen to this, because I'm going to repurpose this video and just like take every word you just said to heart, because that's exactly right, man. Like being in the restaurant business myself for 10 years, running a small New York deli and creating this and like you said, there's just one idea, bro. It was one idea. I was running this New York deli. I took over for my family, right? And in my head, it's like, my dad, whatever he's doing is wrong. I'm going to flip this in 1 year and I'm going to make $1 million. And I got into it and I'm like, wow, this is not easy. It's not easy. 5 years, bro, I was struggling. But then one idea from a good friend, I trusted him and he advised me, and then from there it's over. Basically, I learned how to do Google Ads, and then I started my catering business, and from there it just blew up, bro, like 800% in one. And it was just one thing. So for people that are listening today, if you can take one idea and really go for it, that could change your life in literally 1 year or a few months. Like in my case, bro, back then, 2012, nobody was doing Google Ads. Not too many competitors. So I started doing Google Ads, and for $1 a click for Italian catering, and I was a deli. I was showing on top, and guess who was noticing me? Companies like Zillow, Oakley. They would call me, and I'm sitting here. We're in a deli, bro. This is like yesterday. I remember, like we're sitting in a small deli. It's like 3 of us, and Zillow calls me. Yeah, hi. Because they saw me on top of Google and they saw my reviews. I understood that. So I had the social proof. But in reality, I couldn't handle 300 employees, bro. I couldn't handle 300. But when they said, yes, we have 300 employees and we want lunch for next Friday. And my heart is beating. I'm like, yeah, we can handle that.
Right.
Because I knew I could figure it out. At that point, when I started Possibility, I knew I could figure it out. So what did I do, Keith? What did I do? I went to Google. I started searching. I hired staff. You can hire staff on the go. There's companies that will send you chefs. You just tell them, because I had my main chef, because, it's all about the prep work. It's all about the prepping and all that. When you bring the people and one person takes charge of that, you can make it happen. And what else did I do? I called a rental company. I rented a warmer because we couldn't send it all out at once. And I was making all this food from my pizza oven, bro. Pizza oven. So it's like when you said that, I'm like, that's it. All it takes is one idea at a time and doing it and going for it. And like you said, people don't think about marketing. They think about, their grandma's recipe. They open up, and I see it all the time, and it's so sad. It's so sad to see restaurants opening up. And my advice to people is always start your catering business. Start with catering.
Right.
Make sure you're testing your food, and then go open up a brick and mortar. Because a brick and mortar takes a lot more risk, and you have a lot more overhead. And especially, I don't know where you live, but in California, they just passed, you can cook from home as long as you meet the criteria. You can literally cook from your house right now in California and start a catering business. I don't know. Can you do that over there now?
No, it's a little bit more strict around here. There's some cool homesteading laws, but yeah, it's not the same here. But I mean, to your point, man, I think that you nailed it, right? Like, it takes one thing, it takes one idea, but to add on to that, you got to open yourself up for success, right? There's a lot of people who are closed for success. They say they want the dream, they say they want to go do it, but they don't want to put themselves in alignment with what that is, right? They don't want to go, okay, I want to open a restaurant and I have no idea how to run a business. So yeah, let's just go for it. And again, I'm guilty of it at times in my life, for sure. But because we're guilty of it, then we can succeed, right? Then we can tell other people, hey, don't do it this way.
Yeah, exactly, bro. It takes courage. Like right now, you and I being live right here, this takes courage. I tell restaurant owners, you got to change the way you look at things. Like I used to go live every Friday. And it was nerve-wracking, And even right now, bro, my heart is beating, because I'm live, even though I've done so many lives, but it's still beating inside. But this is the moment I feel like, okay, whenever this is happening, I'm alive. I'm
Right.
doing something that's going to help me. It's going to help my community. And this is what it takes. So I used to go live, bro. I used to go live on Friday and do Friday challenges at the restaurant. And it created such an amazing buzz. And it was free. Like right now, I'm telling people and yourself, right now, the algorithm of Instagram, when you go live, it's amazing. You get a bunch of push notifications. Not even your post does this. So going live once a week or even twice a week, sharing with the community how you're keeping your customers safe with COVID and all that craziness that's going, what dishes you're offering this week, that will help you a lot. And engaging customers, like you're good with that. You got like 200 comments on this post about your book you talked about, and I want you to get into that. The ultimate cookbook. You're an artist. I mean, look at this. Look, guys, Keith did this with his camera, but you can literally get really close to this with your phone. All you do is you go to your app. There's a food option. Have you seen that food option? You click that. It creates contrast. That's what I used to do. And people would think like, oh, did you hire a photographer? Did you do this? And you're not a professional photographer. You use your camera. You spend a little bit more to get a camera, but you guys don't need to do that. You don't need to spend $800 for a camera. Use your phone. Right, Keith?
No. So, with me, you can give me a Lamborghini right now and I'll probably wreck it, because driving that thing is a whole different way. And that's what it's like when you have a really nice setup and camera. I spent a lot of time. I'm a cookbook author, right? So it's like I got 3 cookbooks underneath me and I did all the photography for all of it. But I had to learn how to do that.
Where can people find your books?
Yeah, so you can go to keithsarasin.com. That's just my name.com. And they're right there, right on the front page. You can buy all of them, including this book that is about to come out in May. That's my new cookbook. This thing's a monster of a cookbook.
Wow. It's not out already?
So I'm taking pre-orders, and I'm going to sign and give some love to every single person who buys it. You can pre-order on Amazon too if you really want to do it. But if you go through my website, then you're going to get it signed. I love to give little surprise notes and stuff.
No,
so
that's awesome.
You might even get some masala chai that I grind. I just send people stuff. I love it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So what inspired you to write that book?
Yeah, so I've worked with a publishing company, a small one out of Maine, for the last 3 books. I've written 3 books in 2 years, which is nuts. And so they approached me and they said, hey, we really want to do this book. What do you think? And I really wanted to, I love meat, but I also am pretty conscious about it nowadays, to be honest, right? I think that it's something that is, has a responsibility. And so I wanted to put a lot of the recipes I've loved throughout the course of the years. I wanted to break down what it's like to go through the butchery process. And I also had the opportunity to talk about farming, and which is, again, close to my heart. Love farms. So I highlight 2 of my favorite farmers in there. It's awesome. It's a really cool book. That's
awesome. That's awesome, man. I'm so glad you did that. One of my goals is to write a book to help food entrepreneurs, especially people that are starting out or struggling. And I'll get it done one day.
Yeah.
We gotta have another conversation regarding that some other time. So my next question for you is, what's your approach when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, so Farmer's Dinner was easy. It was hard in the beginning, but my approach to marketing is very, very, very much word of mouth. Now, I know that's crazy, but I don't try to market from a national stage, right? I just started getting into that as I've kind of hit this level of notoriety, and I've been on stage with some great chefs, in the last couple of years. So in the beginning for my company, it was like, hey, we're a community-based company. Joey's Hot Sauce, what's up, chef? How you doing out there? So in the beginning, what I wanted to do is just hang out with farmers, and I wanted them to get to know me. And then after that, my approach was basically storytelling, and it still is. I love stories. I think it harkens back to something that we all love, right? Where our parents tell us that story when we're young, you know, fairy tales, things like that. I wanted to be able to recreate the story of what we're doing. The tagline for my company, The Farmer's Dinner, is a story in every bite. That's all we want to do. We're there to be vessels to tell the story of the farmer. And because we've done that, we've been really successful. Obviously, we've done that through media, articles. We've been internationally published at this point. It's been good. But now, which I'm pretty excited for, now I've started learning a ton more about Instagram ads, marketing in that way. And I'm still new, for sure, man. I could listen to you for days on this because you're an expert. But dude, I'm loving it because the reach can be so much more just lucrative, you know, and you get to inspire a whole bunch of people that you've never met before. So it's cool.
Exactly. And I love that it is like word of mouth is huge. You know, every business owner will say, yeah, word of mouth. That is true, word of mouth. But in reality, when I look at your story is you might not even know it yourself, but your marketing started when you started connecting with farmers because, right? That's what created what you are right now. First of all, of course, the passion came because you cared about the farmers. It all started there. But in the way I look at it as a marketer is like Keith is a natural. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even think about it, but you are marketing. That's like marketing 101. What you did is you connected, you built relationship, you created a story. And I love the way you dish it. Each dish you create, there's a story behind it. That right there is marketing because people look at that and they remember it, right? Because I have seen a lot of your posts. You always mention a friend, you're always tagging, you're asking questions. That's all organic marketing. And like you said, you're understanding the power of Facebook ads and Instagram because there's a world out there, Keith, that's waiting to hear more about you. And you can literally do that. You can reach people like you said, you never thought existed and would love you as much as everybody else does right now is by just creating the right ads and doing the targeting. It's crazy what you can do with Facebook ads. Like I grew up in Google days, you know, like my business took off with Google ads, but now there's a lot more than Google ads. You know, there's Pinterest. There's like Pinterest is something like nobody's looking at, but there's a lot of wedding clients that are going on Pinterest. They're going and creating boards. So if they see your stuff in your area, they're like, oh, wow, look how this chef created this wedding in this farm and look what they did, you know? And it's amazing, like the opportunities that are out there, but I'm really happy that you understand that. And then that's what's going to take anybody that's going to the next level. Because basically when you invest, right? When you invest in something, then you're basically putting money behind of time, right? Like I could sit around and run my deli for 20 years and get to where I finally got in 5 years with the ads. So that's what the ads does. It just gives you, what do I call it? It's like steroids, right? When you're trying to build muscles. And with ads, it's the same idea. When you put ads behind it and you are engaging them and you being truthful and you share like your story, people will connect with that. So that's awesome, bro. Thank you for sharing that. So another thing I want to bring up is Easter, since Easter's around the corner, and I'm all about looking ahead for food entrepreneurs. Like, I don't know if you go to my profile, I created this marketing planner and I got a deal right now for $50. I remind you 2 weeks before. It's a digital planner of what big days are coming. Because we're in the game, Keith, right? You're in the game, you're cooking, you have all these events, you forget, you forget, oh shit, Easter's next week, right? I got to create my package for Easter. So Easter is coming out on April 4th. And my question to you is, are you planning on promoting yourself? And what are some of the dishes you like to prepare for Easter? Like, ham is tradition. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no. So my Easter this year looks a lot different than last year, right? We were still new pandemic last year. My restaurant, we were trying to pivot and figure out what we were going to do on that side of it. And now I sit here without that restaurant, which is exciting because it's a new chapter in my life. And I get so Farmer's Dinner runs seasonally. So our Farmer's Dinner season kicks off in May, and I actually get the amazing opportunity to hang out. So I'm going to cook. So last year I got this awesome pig, and it was from a place called Relic Farm in New Hampshire. And I have the entire ham still. This thing's like 25 pounds. It's huge.
Wow.
So I'm going to cure that thing up. I am going to make the most ridiculous Easter dinner and actually take a moment for the first time in a long time to be in the moment of a season. Because when we're on the line, we're running restaurants, we don't get vacations. We don't get to skip out on Valentine's Day. Like, come on, man. Like, that's not in our DNA. And so the pandemic has forced a lot of us to slow down. And this is an incredible opportunity to just enjoy another holiday and be thankful, because I know I'm not going to be able to do this forever. There's more stuff I want to do in my life,
Right. So you're basically saying that you're just doing this for family?
Yeah, I'm going to make a 25-pound ham for family, for dogs. We're going to have a blast. We're going to have a feast. And I'm going to utilize every aspect of that thing because I hate food waste. It's such a problem.
Nice. I love that. I'm sure you're going to share it on your Instagram. I would love to see some ideas on like what you're doing and what people can do. Because do you do, I'm not sure if I saw this, do you do any classes regarding like how to cook?
Yeah, so my passion, has really transitioned in the last many years to Indian cuisine and anything in the South Asian continent. And we've just had, I've been loving it. I have a crazy story with it, but I've given a couple of classes on that and brought in some really great guest chefs. That's been a lot of fun. I've stopped on it just because I've become so busy with book promotion tours. Hey, what's up, Rehan? It's good to see you, my friend. I've been busy with, PR and all that stuff. So, what it's like when I have to put out content 5 days a week, bare minimum, not counting, and that's just posts. So to do that and to do it at the level that I want to do it, I'm not there yet. I'm not even at the level. When I look at my Instagram feed, I'm like, I can do better. And so I'm constantly refining what I do. So that's where really my head's at these days. Let's put up some great content. Let's work on the next phase of my life, learn more, because I am such a student of Indian cuisine, man. It's so complex and so hard. I have Hindi classes that I'm doing. Like, it's nuts, man. It's a lot.
That's awesome. And since you brought it up, I saw posts of you just bought a new equipment. It's a tandoori. Tell me about that. I'm Middle Eastern, I'm Persian, so we call that tandoor. And what we do is we bake this fresh bread. Oh my God, like you go to Iran and they have tandoors this big, we call it tandoor, and they bake bread. I've never ever had a bread like that. So what are you going to use this tandoori for?
Yes. Oh man, now we're going to talk forever about this, because my favorite dish, it actually has its root in Persian cuisine, nahari. Nahari is like my favorite thing in the entire world. So, so I'm going to use it for bread, obviously. Let's be honest, naan and chapati and roti on the tandoor is like out of this world good. But I just cured it today, so I just let it cook for. It's the first cook after you do the curing and the seasoning process. You have to let it go, and so for 2 hours it's been burning like crazy. And so this weekend, my buddy New England Chef just joined. If you don't know New England Chef, you should click in with him. Patrick Susi, guy is brilliant.
Oh, sure.
I'm actually headed to his house to cook some Indian food for him and his wife. And I got my first tandoor, so I'm gonna mess around with it today. Probably burn my hands off a little bit and learn a whole hell of a lot.
I got so many birds from our pizza oven, bro. It's not even funny.
Right, man. Right.
That's awesome. So you're gonna promise me you're gonna create a video on how to make bread with your equipment, right?
Hell yeah.
I
For
would
you, I'll
love
do
to.
it.
I would love to see that, bro. Like, I would literally buy that thing the next day if I see, like, I love a good fresh bread. And I have a problem with gluten. And, I spent in Russia for the last World Cup, and I had bread every day there, bro. My stomach was fine. I swear I had no problem. But when I'm here and I eat bread, for some reason, my stomach acts up. And I'm like, what is going on in the US? I was in Russia eating bread every day because piroshki, everything they have is bread in Russia. And I was loving it. I'm like, I don't care if I wake up with a stomach pain, I don't care. And I kept eating, and I'm like, what the hell? I don't have a stomach ache. So it's like what's going on? So if you can come up with a recipe and I make that and I don't have a problem next morning, I know it's something in the bread here. So I don't know what's going on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man. So how do you do with sourdoughs, like real sourdoughs around here? Have you tried them?
That I do good. I do
See,
good with real sourdough, like
so
San Francisco style sourdough. I do
so
good with.
that's the move. Like you gotta. So whenever you do sourdough, you're fermenting, right? So you're getting lactobacillus acidophilus and all these beautiful probiotics into it, and those probiotics help break down all of this stuff. They're good gut bacteria. This is why, I love sourdough bread, man. I love the bread process. So a lot of the naan that I do, I'll actually ferment. So I'll do sourdough-based
There you
naans
go.
and things like that. Because naans, like Americans think naan is the bread that Indian people eat, and it's not. It's like a celebration bread. It's they'll eat kulcha, they'll eat tandoori roti, they'll eat chapati, things like this. So whenever I try to do, whole wheat tends to work better, but a nice fermentation will really help you out a ton. I'm gonna give you a sourdough naan recipe, man. We're gonna throw down.
That would be awesome, bro. If you can even do a live on that and
Yep.
let us know when you're going live on that and use your tandoori, that would be awesome, bro. You should even talk to that company and get an affiliate link for yourself because I'm going to buy one and I would want you to get some commission on that because you inspired me. That would be sick. Like, everything these days is affiliate business. So I'm being serious. Talk to that company, be like, hey, I want an affiliate link. Let's do this.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
just gotta
sick.
hire you for PR now.
There you go, bro. We're going to have another conversation. So we talked about that. Okay, so here's the tough question. With the pandemic, what have you found works best for keeping your team motivated and the morale high? How do you overcome conflicts in the workplace?
Yeah, two important things, and it's been more pronounced for me with the pandemic, because obviously I had a big switch in the pandemic. I went from restaurants to not restaurants and just the farmers dinner team. And so here's what I learned: it's appreciation and transparency. Those two words, and I'll say it again: appreciation and transparency. There was times when you get so busy that you forget to appreciate your team. You forget that you need to communicate with your team at a much higher level. So when I stepped out of the restaurant world, I realized that I thought I was a really great communicator. And a lot of times I felt like I couldn't communicate to the best of my ability. I couldn't speak my truth. So when I developed the team for the farmers dinner that we have this year, I wanted them to know every day and as much as possible that I appreciate them, and I'm trying my best to be a great communicator. And it's something, we put them out front all the time. If you look at our Instagram and the Farmers Dinner, you can check out the Farmers Dinner Instagram at the Farmers Dinner. You'll see that we have Farmer Fridays just to appreciate our farmers. We have Team Tuesdays where we're putting out our team and talking about them, linking their profile and loving on them. So appreciation, absolutely quintessential and important, and transparency, two biggest things.
I love how you brought that up because when I look back at the 10 years I was in the food business, the one thing that I really believe, I did a lot of things wrong, but the one thing I did right, and to this day I'm so grateful, is that appreciation to my employee. And you know what? getting personal with them. I knew everything about their life. Some people say no, like corporate America. We know how corporate America is. No, you can't have any personal relationship. I would have personal relationship. I knew everything about their family, what they're struggling with, what they needed. Because a lot of times I would give them their paycheck ahead of time because I knew what was going on in their life and they would appreciate that, you know? I did not one time did I get sued because a lot of the restaurant owners, they think, oh, it's so much risk. You're going to get sued. You got this. Yeah, but if you treat your employees like family and you know what's going on in their life, you have that connection. There's no way. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's really, really awesome you brought that up because that's the one thing I recommend to especially new business owners, people getting into the food business. Get to know your employee, get personal with them, because that's how you're going to create a team that will care for you when you go to Hawaii for 1 week and you leave the business for them to run. It's the only way they're going to care because they know you care.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, I had to learn the hard way that, we can't do it all. The chef mentality is I'm going to be front of the house, back of the house, prep cook. I'm going to be the accountant. I'm going to be the marketer. We just want to control it all because we don't trust. And at the end of the day, it's hard. It's hard. I feel for that because I've been there. I've been in positions where I had no idea what I was doing. And I, winged it and tried to do the best that I possibly can. But I think the biggest thing I learned is appreciation and transparency.
Exactly. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So the next question is, what is the most important risk you have taken this far and why?
So this is going to be a weird one. So I know that everyone primes these questions. They're like, oh, I did this grand thing. The most important risk I took was on me. It was getting out. It was learning to say no and walk away and not do it in a way of malice. There's a point in my life that I went through a lot. My mom's passing and just a lot of personal things going on that I looked in the mirror and I forgot who I was. I didn't light up anymore. I went through the motions. I didn't feel passion. I felt shame and anger and hurt and all of those things. And when we feel that as chefs, that comes out in our food. That comes out in our work. That's parted down to our employees. I wasn't Keith anymore. That hurt, that trauma took over. And so the biggest risk I ever took was walking away. Afraid out of my mind. But I got to tell you what, I'm happy again. I'm me again. I'm so on fire, and I swear I'm just getting started. I love me again, man. And that's a hell of a risk. It's hard to walk away from all that.
It is, for sure, man. Saying no, like you said, is one of the most important things in life. The way whatever you dealt with and the way people saying no to customers you don't like, saying no to people that trying to take advantage of you, that right there, it's huge because then you know who you really are. And you know what's funny? People will appreciate you even more when you say no to them. They more want to do more business with you. Why do you say no to me? I'm like, well, sorry, I don't think we're going to be a good fit. It's not going to be. And that's the hardest part because we always want to say yes to business. Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's awesome. So, and we're getting to the final questions here. If you had one piece of advice to give to someone just starting out in the food industry, what would it be?
Yeah, there's a ton, right? Because I'm sure you're seasoned in this. They'd be like, oh, there's all these technical things, but one piece of advice I'd give to somebody starting out is learn to set up boundaries in your life. These are non-negotiable boundaries that in the chef world, we don't tend to set up, right? We're like, hey, yeah, we'll work the double, and then we'll work the double again, then we'll work the double again, and all of a sudden you're 120 hours into the week and you haven't slept and you're drinking and chain smoking. Mental health is a real serious issue in this. So my biggest advice is set up non-negotiable boundaries. Make sure that you're spending time with the people you love, and you don't become the idea of a chef. You don't fall into the identity of, I am a chef, so therefore if I burn myself, I sear it on a plancha and I keep going. I'm a chef, so therefore I don't take days off. Weakness and vulnerability are two different things. Vulnerability comes from a place of strength. Weakness comes from a place of not identifying your own shortcomings and then pushing them to the back. So setting up healthy boundaries in your life will take you further than anything that you'll ever put out on a plate.
I love that. And you know why I love that? Because there's a lot of restaurant owners out there that are pushing chefs just the way you just said it. And when a chef is not appreciated, like a lot of times, like you see small restaurants, they're doing really well, and then they want to say something. Yeah, can I meet the owner of the restaurant? We just want to applaud them. And in reality, it's not the owner. It's the chef in the back busting his ass 14 hours a day that needs recognition. And I just hope restaurant owners, they understand that and they recognize that and they see that, because that's what it is. It's the chef is the backbone. Like my chef was the backbone of my restaurant, because I'm not a chef. I was a restaurant owner, and I always make sure that Danielle knew that. And a lot of times, that would happen. They're like, "Oh, Al, you're doing so great." I'm like, no, it's not me. It's Danny. Danny was here 6 o'clock in the morning, cutting the lettuce, cutting the cheese, so we can have this, So it's really true. Like a lot of times chefs that just get into the game and they just work their ass off. They miss big days. They miss the wife's anniversary, and that's not cool. That's not cool. Maybe you do that. Maybe you do that for a couple of years to get your name out there, but then you gotta have boundaries and just stop. After you get to a certain level, you can't continue, because I saw my dad struggling, like working 18 hours a day, and that's why I got in the game. I was a landscape architect. Like you said, you were studying psychology. I studied landscape architecture, but then I was the only son in the family, and in a way I felt obligated. I have to take over the family restaurant and retire my dad. And that's exactly what happened. I took over and I retired my dad. And I loved it too, to be honest. Ever since I was a kid growing up in Sweden, we had a pizza shop. I loved to play with dough, give free drinks to the cute girls. I was 8 years old giving free drinks to cute girls. I felt like so connected, and I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go to college. I was 18 years old, and I wanted to run the pizza shop we had in Irvine, California. But my dad's like, I don't want this for you. Because, my dad had to go through a lot, changing 3 different countries, from Iran to Sweden to here. So it was like, he was old school when we came here. So that's another story I don't want to get into right now. So I really appreciate it. I think we covered almost everything I wanted to cover. And last thing I want to ask again is, where can people find you? Where, like you mentioned it again, please, where can they buy your books? And let me ask you this, what's in the near future for you? Something exciting that you might be working on? What is that looking like?
Yeah, so you can buy the books at keithsarasin.com. It's just my name.com. Super stoked. Please, yeah, if these books resonate with you, then feel free. If you don't, that's cool too. Nothing but love. Stuff I got coming up. I got a crazy year. I'm really blessed and lucky. I'm going to be speaking at some various organizations this year. Headed to Mexico to shoot a cookbook. Then I'm not writing the cookbook. I want to be very clear with that. I get to do the photography, which I'm super excited for. And helping an incredible friend who's this just unbelievable chef. Then I'm headed to India for a while in November.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna head there and spend some time with a lot of friends out there. My guru Kurush Dalal lives up in Mumbai. We're gonna spend some time together, traveling to the south of India, and then I'm gonna come back.
Nice.
And I've got some really crazy things planned, but I need to have that Indian experience to really help me learn and bring me to the next level and just learn to respect. So it's gonna be a crazy year.
That's awesome. When are you going to Mexico and then India? I want to know both of that.
Yeah, so Mexico looks like it's going to be August. I'm going to be out in Florida for a long time. I got a pop up I got want to do out there with some friends, and then head to Mexico for a bit. And then it looks like India is going to be end of October, early November. I'm stoked for that. I'm going to go crazy on Instagram and all my networks. So
Awesome.
don't even worry. There'll be lives. I'll be calling you. We're going to get everyone up in here.
Also, I would love that, man. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I spent some time in London and I had some good Indian food there. You know the culture over there. There's a lot of Indian culture over there. So that's awesome. And we got to do this again one more time because I want to learn more about how this whole Indian food happened. And I'm sure after a few months when you're in India, I'm going to learn more about that. So I'm really grateful. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. I'm sure my community loved all your stories. And I'm going to repurpose this and create a YouTube video out of this as well. And I'll share that link with you guys and anybody else that missed this and want to hear more about your story. And I leave it at that. I really appreciate it, Keith.
Thanks, man. It's so good being with you. Be well. We'll do this again soon.
Thank you. You have a great weekend. All right.
You too, man. Bye-bye.